Welcome to Social Dynamics. I'm Sarah Stockham. I am delighted that you are here. You are in for such a treat today. I'm here with my good friend, Iman Abdelkader, and we are going to be talking about soul journey, but also her process to come into this space, just how you came to become a light worker. Because I think that you have known this about yourself, Iman, for so many years, for such a long time. And I have just seen you grow and shine and change and just really come out to say, here I am, world. I have things to share with you, and it's important that you listen. So I would love for you to go ahead and just start us off about your journey into the soul journey, friend.
Of course. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. Hello, everybody. I have always known that there was more to this world.
Yes.
I just have always felt it since I was a little kid. And so I obviously wanted to see that come into expression. And when I was able to truly find myself by taking different paths that, God put in front of me, it led me to the soul journey. And through the soul journey, I was able to access and basically come to deep connection with my superconscious self within me, to be able to really truly connect to my higher self. Who I really am was never ever something that I was able to truly answer. I always thought it was these external things like my job title, or I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, all these things, which they are very important. And they do have great significance in all of our lives. But the external doesn't always get you to pure happiness. What gets you to pure happiness is knowing who you are, which is you are your higher self, and having those conversations with your higher self to guide you and to get you to that place of pure peace and serenity within.
Iman, that is so incredibly powerful. I, a few years ago, was talking with my husband, and we were just having this conversation, and we came across this idea, and I was a little frustrated about something in this process. And he just looked at me and said, Sarah, if somebody has never experienced peace, you cannot explain it to them. It's something that is so incredibly experiential. So I am guessing in your life that you've had moments and times that were not peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like all of us do.
Exactly. It's part of the life journey, right?
Yeah,
it's part of that experience of us. And so in this process then, how did you know, having had these life experiences of not experiencing peace, how did you know that there was something to pursue that was different than what you were hearing and feeling and understanding other places?
Okay, such a great question. I think the number one thing that would always be present was this feeling in my gut. So I think that's one thing I can explain, that we know that, there's our mind, there's our heart consciousness, and then there's our gut consciousness. And gut consciousness is really that intuitive feeling that you get from within. It's that feeling that just nudges you into a direction, and your mind is saying, what is that? What are we doing? So uncomfortable. I don't know if we should do this. All of those questions are your mind. They're just the brain. It's just your ego. It's doing its best to protect you because that's what it knows. But your heart and your gut are always going to be guiding you in a direction where it is just so instinct. It's like a tiger or a lion. They know who they are. They don't question who they are. And your heart and gut consciousness, awakening those with conversations with God, really strengthening those conversations, it almost just guides you to it. So even when I didn't have these tools, right, this conversations with your higher self, I would feel this feeling within my gut. I'd be like, but this doesn't feel, no, I know this is happening, and I know this sucks. You know what I mean? It does. But I know there's something else there. I just feel it in my bones that there is something more in this life for every single individual on this planet. The external pain that is happening is real. but the internal bliss that is available to everyone is also real. And it's also stronger too.
Oh, that is so incredibly powerful. So as I hear you talking about having these three different parts to our being, I'm hearing you say that the mind just keeps moving. It just keeps going.
Oh yeah.
And that it's kind of a nonstop kind of thing.
It really does keep going.
But then there also, we have this heart consciousness. And I would think that that would be our emotional seat. And that we have our gut consciousness. And I would think that that being, for me, intuitive, right?
Yes.
We talk about, follow your gut. I think that when part of that being in our language is because that people are saying, what is your gut telling you? So I think that when our guts are upset and we're not happy about things, and then we know that in other places in our life, when we've had these experiences of things being not right, that we know that there can also be the opposite side of that, that there is this tug and this pull, right? The going back and forth. And then I think there are also these moments for me, walking outside, and it doesn't happen very well in the big cities, but if you can get out to where it's darker and to be able to see how expansive the sky is, right? The night sky and all those stars that are up there, and to be able to feel that for me, that here I am getting to observe all of this, and that they just don't seem to be concerned about anything. They are stars, they're doing their thing, right? These suns that are galaxies away. And so in that process, I think that even looking at nature, we can come to this understanding of there can be this, but there can also be the other side of it. So what are some words that you would use to describe your experience then in going through the soul journey?
Going through the soul journey is almost a surreal event. For me, that's how it was, because it was this awakening that was within me that I didn't even know was asleep. And I had been operating from my brain for so long. It was almost like instinctive for me. And I was able to, again, have these moments of deep, what's the word? I was just able to really, really have a real conversation with myself. This was before Soul Journey, right? Where I was able to say, okay, what you've been doing hasn't been serving you in the best way it can. I mean, doing something over and over again, what is that? Insanity. So you almost
and expecting a different result.
A different result, exactly. Yes. So I was like, okay, I have to do something different. So then when I started to do the soul journey, a lot of stuff comes up and it seems like it's bad, but because you put that time and effort into wanting to invest in yourself, you just fully, it's almost like when you make a promise with somebody and you want to keep it, but you're making that promise with yourself. And so it's just this incredible connection that you start to develop with yourself, this incredible relationship that you start to develop with yourself, because you start to unpack all of these things that, maybe this doesn't really serve me anymore. And you're not like angry at yourself about it. You're like loving and kind and patient. And when I went through the soul journey and I was able to really I was able to forgive my dad. I was able to, and I had
Powerful.
I was able to forgive, my grandmother, and I didn't even know I needed to forgive her. You know what I mean? But these feelings come up and these events will come up and you realize the person that you needed the entire time was yourself. And almost every single time where you felt like, why is my life so out of control? Why can't I feel like I have no sense of grasping, like I'm grasping at straws and I'm not able to grasp anything. In the soul journey, you are able to grasp straws and so much more, because you gain that strength and power within yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually as well. So, that's kind of how it went for me. And that's when I realized, when our spiritual mentors told me, you are a light worker. I was like, oh yeah, I know. But like, it was never something that came to me before. I never told myself, yeah, you're a light worker. You just don't know it yet. Like, someone told me it, and it was like this deep knowing within me. And so I think that's what it does. It's like mending the bonds that were like, that you didn't even need to be bonded, or didn't even know that you need to be bonded.
I think that when we're born, that we have this incredible purity, right? And that there become these experiences of what the family expects. But in my family, there wasn't a manual for this is how we do and why we do. It was just these unspoken, right? And it wasn't that it was bad, but there wasn't a congruent piece inside of there that led me to a place of being able to trust myself. And what I'm hearing you say is that the soul journey gave you tools that you could begin to live a life that was less cluttered with should I or what if.
Yeah.
And that it just kind of settled decision making for you.
Yeah.
If I'm putting words in your mouth, you let me know.
No, yeah.
But I also am not hearing you say that you are looking to live a solitary life the rest of your life. I'm not hearing you say that because that you've gone through the soul journey and that you have these answers that you can find, that you don't need to have conversations with other people, that you don't need to have other people around you. So I'm hearing you say that community is also a good thing in this process as well. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Okay. So there's this like notion in life that if you have a problem with somebody, or maybe you felt there was never really a great connection, like maybe your childhood growing up with a certain family member or something like that, that you need to distance yourself from them, because distancing yourself from them is going to, first of all, that's the ego talking. That's not real. Second, it's this, let me just be away from something that really makes me feel uncomfortable, because that way I don't have to deal with it. And I think it can be really helpful and necessary in certain situations, like jobs, abusive relationships. There are certain, but in terms of conflict, in my eyes, conflict is actually a really good thing. And if you have it with certain people, especially with family members, it actually helps you grow and develop that higher self within you even stronger. And so, yeah, I do resonate with what you were just saying, Sarah, because I'm very close with my family. And I'm close with my external family too, my chosen family, right? My friends and family, and they're very important to me. And I did have kind of a rough upbringing. I moved from this country to another country, learned that language at a very young age, and then from 3 to 6, and then from 6 I came back. So I didn't know English, and I had to learn English all over. And I was kind of dealing with all of these things. And honestly, to a certain extent, I could be mad at my parents still, right? You guys didn't support me, all of these things. But where is that going to get me? And I always knew that constantly blaming an external force, when I say external force, another person, for the feelings that I'm presently carrying with me, is not going to change the circumstance at all. Putting the blame on someone else is not going to help me feel better. So you gain this power within yourself where you feel like you have no control, right? In the beginning, you feel like you have no control. One person will say one comment to you and it'll set you off, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, it's week 6 in your soul journey, and they say the same comment they said 2 months ago, and you're unbothered, because you develop this relationship with yourself and realize that you don't even need the apology from them.
Right.
You don't even want it, really, because you've already forgiven them. Your higher self already knew where you needed to be, where you wanted to be. It's this piece that kind of flows over you. It's like when I don't know if you've ever gone under a waterfall.
I have.
Yeah, it's the best feeling. It's like refreshing, and then you kind of like, it's like this like rush that comes over your entire, like up your spine and like all the way down to your feet. So it's like this grounding but like uplifting feeling that that comes over your body.
Yes.
And that's what I would say happens in the soul journey for any individual. Every experience is different for each individual because
Absolutely.
each person is different, right?
Yes.
But if I can explain the feeling that comes over when you are able to truly just be at such a grounded place with your higher self and your inner child, it's the best thing. I mean, you're developing a new relationship with yourself. The relationship that you used to have will be like, oh, that was nice, but this is even better.
Yes. I love that, because it really is about developing a relationship with yourself. And I find that at work, that when drama comes up, that I just, I don't need to put my 2 cents in. It is what it is. And if it directly impacts me, then I need to listen in.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just the cafeteria conversation kind of thing, that, it's not uplifting to anybody, it isn't necessarily moving anything forward, and therefore I don't need to be present for it. I can be there physically, but not necessarily emotionally present. And what I find about that is that it allows me to hold on to my energy differently, and so that I can be at work for a certain number of hours, or I can be out with people, and I have new and different skills as a result of the soul journey of being able to listen internally to what I need to be paying attention to better, and that when I come home at the end of the day, that I still have energy, I still have focus. I'm not all wrapped up in, the knots of whatever happened during the day. Is that part of your story as well?
Yeah, I mean, we all have coworker drama, right? I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's happened at least once in our lifetime. And I think that it's this it's almost like you're taking your power back.
Absolutely.
Because actually it is taking your power back.
Yes.
Because everything else that used to be your normal conversation changes. And people are not going to understand it, especially if they haven't heard of the soul journey or spirituality in general, which but it's starting to even come into the collective consciousness even more, and it's strengthening itself within. That's how powerful it is. And I think that when we're able to really just, like how you said, the cafeteria conversation, and for us to just kind of be like at a place of pure safety and protection within ourselves, where we know we don't have to constantly give energy to conversation, people that aren't serving our highest good. And there's no judgment there.
Correct.
Right? So they're where they're at. They are in a place where they're at, and we're just sitting there in complete, we're just holding space, not just for them, but for ourselves. So when we do come home, like you said, we have that energy to really put into the things that we love and just, absolutely want to have the best relationship with, whether it be, our side projects, our husbands, our kids, our sisters, our, mom, whatever, our cats.
Yes. Yes. In this process, I understand that there are soul journey coaches. And congratulations, I understand that you are now a soul journey coach. It's so very, very exciting. What can somebody who signs up for the class expect to be going through in just that very, very beginning part of it? I understand that there is a life journal, a life dream journal, and that they get an opportunity to start looking at the pieces that have been so impactful for me. Is that I'm not just given questions at the top of the page and go ahead and start filling it out. I'm given examples. And that for me is really, really helpful as I'm working through what is it that I really do, what has been calling my attention, my energy, my thought process, what's been calling me for me to show up and do. And it really is helpful in my experience to have reading what other people have written about theirs as well. So if somebody decides that they're going to sign right up for this soul journey, they listen to this and they say, you know what, I want what Iman has. Iman is able to listen and be around a whole bunch of drama, whether it's at work or it's looking at past things, and that they decide that they are looking for more peace in their life, and they know that they, like you, that there has been this calling to move to a place of more peacefulness. So they sign up for the soul journey class. What's the beginning of it like?
So the beginning is really getting clear on what your real dreams and desires are. Not to say that you don't have clarity on it right now, but this is deeper. You're not just going based off of a whim. You're going into a place where you are able to really feel into these questions that are being asked of you, and to come up with, because they're not conventional questions like, oh, what makes you happy? Like, no, they're specified questions that are getting you to think in a different way. And that, oh my gosh, Sarah, that is the number one thing. You are going to learn in a different way. You're going to start expressing yourself in a different way. It's almost like, we've been taught to learn. They want us to learn, but they never taught us how to learn.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, they told us to go to school, but
and
we did,
yes,
but we didn't really learn. I mean, we learned trades, but in terms of actually learning, this is the number one thing that I think is so beneficial in the soul journey. It's a completely different way of learning and understanding. You're a student all over, brand new, and the old way you knew how to learn is going to be thrown out the window, to be quite honest, because you're not going to want to learn any other way.
It is absolutely so true, so true. Are there any other final thoughts that you want to share with us in our audience before we wrap up today?
I guess I would want to say that I know taking the step or taking that leap to express this feeling that you have within you can be a little scary, but there is nothing more scary to me to look back at your life and to say, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have taken that class. I wonder what would have happened. I personally believe that there is such a gift in taking a chance on yourself, because even if it doesn't work out the way you think it should work out, should. It actually worked out the way it was supposed to work out. Our expectations aren't always aligning with what our higher self truly desires for us. And, sometimes you having a really bad interview leads you to an even better interview. Having a really bad date or relationship or breakup leads you to your next, relationship, whether it be with another person or yourself, which is just as valuable. So I know that a lot of us think, wow, is there more to life? I'm here to tell you, yes, there is. And if you're a little bit, I guess you can say, fearful, that's okay. Let that fear carry you into the next part of your life, into your next journey, and you won't regret it.
Iman, I just so appreciate you carving time out of your incredibly busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know that you are not only working a full-time job, but also creating a course, and I look forward to our next conversations when you are ready for us to do that.
I'm so excited. Yes.
Yes.
Totally. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Iman.